Traditionally, minestra is made with pancetta or guanciale, pork cheeks, diced. That's your kind of background flavor. And then the beans are white beans or cannellini beans. And the traditionally, we always made it in our family with beef stock or veal stock. And then you wilt in a ton of escarole. Any dark greens you like, really, but it's beans and greens. This is a twist on that. It's a very hearty dish that my family loves. We start with beef shanks. Ossobuco is a veal shank. You can go to the butcher and ask for beef shanks. This is the base of our flavor for this dish. Now, in my family, we start by making the stock itself. We take marrow bones in the shank of either beef or veal, of course. You'll see a piece of marrow bone there. You ask your butcher for 4 or 5 pounds of marrow bones. You roast them in the oven to develop their flavor with root vegetables, whole split garlic, and then you throw them in a pot, cover them with water, and let them set on the stove over a low flame all day. You make a ton of beef stock. I even make my own stock in a box for beef stock. You can make a quicker version of this dish by using a couple of quarts of store-bought beef stock or store-bought beef broth, and, of course, canned cannellini beans. In our family, we soak the beans overnight. If you learn how to cook with dried beans, they're a great source of protein and, of course, fiber. They are cheap, they're cheerful, and they stretch $1. So we soak beans overnight in water. You can quick soak them with boiling water. And we cook beans with lots of salt, 1 halved onion, a few fresh bay leaves, and some crushed garlic. We brown the meat, right? I've taken out the meat. Our beef shanks are going to then go back in and braise. But I want those good drippings at the bottom. And then we're going to add celery and onions, 1 large or 2 medium onions. I'm also adding fennel. When we come back, we'll start wilting in our greens after this. So we're making a version of minestra, beans and greens soup. I'm running my knife through the last of our braised beef shanks. Over here, we've got our fennel, celery, onion, garlic, and a bundle of sage. I garnished this soup with brown butter and crispy sage breadcrumbs. So I've got sage in the soup as well. So at this point, we would add our beef back in to slow cook once the vegetables are just tender. And the beef braises in your homemade or store-bought stock. This stock was made with parm rind. Throw your cheese rind in. Then you're gonna wilt in a huge amount of greens. Escarole and kale, I use both. That'll look like this pan right here, see? The meat comes out, you shred it, the greens go in, you wilt them. Whenever you cook with dark greens or dairy, you use nutmeg. And our cooked beans. When we come back, I'll show you how you serve this. There's an art to it. So, with many soups like minestrone or traditional minestra or this beautiful beef shank minestra or beans and greens soup, ribollita, another very famous one, there's a certain way that we serve them and go about eating them. So we finish our soup with a little acidity, which is usually the juice of a lemon. Then, what do I do with my ladle? Here we go. Then, you take the pulled beef, your vegetables, beans and greens, put that into a shallow bowl so you have a lot of surface space. In this case, though, because I love the flavor of sage with this, I made some crispy sage leaves in brown butter. Yes. And some bread, toasted bread in the brown butter, so a little breadcrumb, shaved Parmigiano Reggiano, and always, a little sprinkle of chopped raw white onion that's been rinsed, and always, a good fat drizzle of fruity olive oil.